These videos were shot and first went live in 2021 to 2023 as a part of Designer Shala's podcast, The Creative Hour on Instagram, where we interviewed unique designers and creatives on their journey in design. This is an effort to preserve those talks and help future designers and aspirants to understand design better. The views, opinions, and experiences shared in the Creative Hour podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Designer Shala. Designer Shala holds no accountability or responsibility for any statements, claims, or perspectives expressed during the podcast. Listener discretion is advised.
So I would say, fashion wasn't my the first choice because I was a science student. For me, fashion was okay. I have to design. I'll have to sketch. So I'll be able to manage completing my 4 years in fashion. But second year gave me that reality check that it's not about glamour. There's a lot of work that you need to do. And I'll say for a moment I felt like probably I should stop.
Hello. I'm so excited to welcome each one of you to the Creative Hour at Designer Shala. We are kicking off this series on fashion conversations in the design industry. We're getting leading design experts to come talk about their journeys and upcoming design experts to come talk about their journeys in the fashion and design industry in the country and internationally, of course, in an effort to make sure that bridge is created and that gap is filled for design aspirants and design lovers, and they get actual stories of fashion entrepreneurs, fashion designers, stylists, designers in different fields, and understand what is it like to be a part of this design industry and what does it feel like to actually be on the other side. Hi Pratyush.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, very well. To everyone who's joining in on our live right now, hi everyone. Today we have with us Pratyush Kumar Maurya, who's the founder of the award-winning sustainable label Piox. How do you pronounce it? Pio?
It's called Pew.
Pio? Okay. Okay, all right. Awesome. A graduate in fashion design with a master's in fashion bodywear from UK, Pratyush runs a luxury sustainable fashion business, which has won the Circular Design Challenge in 2022, as well as the Clean Tech Challenge in 2022. But the journey didn't start here. Pratyush is from Gorakhpur in India, and from Gorakhpur to the world with his designs. Let's dive into this conversation with him. Welcome to the Creative Hour, Pratyush.
Thank you so much.
All right. So the first question that I have for you, Pratyush, is, your journey is rather interesting and inspiring. And I think it's pretty much every design student's journey because a lot of the parts of India is actually rural and smaller towns and smaller cities, which don't really have that kind of exposure when it comes to design. And you started your journey back in 2011 when you graduated from Pearl, right?
Yeah.
That's when you actually graduated from design school, which means you started your journey 4 years before that, which is 2007, 2006, probably?
Yeah, 2007.
Which is amazing. At a time when we didn't have Instagram, at a time when we didn't have social media and so much information about design, what intrigued you to start a career in design? What motivated you?
Well, so I would say, fashion wasn't my the first choice to pursue as my career because I was a science student, so I was studying biology with the hope that probably I'll be a surgeon or doctor or something, somewhere related to the medical industry fraternity. But at the same time, I realized, I think, when I was completing my 12th standard, I just felt that probably I can't study for 5 to 10 years, and probably I'll just miss out that particular age when probably I would like to enjoy more. But also at the same time, I knew that other than pursuing medical, I didn't have any other option as a career. But fine arts was something which I always, enjoyed since I was a kid. I was into fine arts. I love drawing. So that was one thing which probably made my brother felt that if not medical, then I should consider, fashion as a career or something which is related to arts. So my elder brother, he was the one who introduced me to fashion. Like he told me that okay, this is one industry which you can think of. Whereas my fine arts mentor during my school days, she told me to pursue fine arts as my career. But I opted for fashion, and I'll say at that time, because of course, for me, fashion was Manish Malhotra, because I had no clue about fashion. So what we saw as kids was through movies and cinema, Indian cinema, and Manish Malhotra was the only name that I knew. So that was probably, and it was all related to glamour and fame. And for me, it was always that I need to do something which makes me popular, which makes me famous. So it was always following any path that leads to fame. Uh, so so I thought, okay, let's consider doing fashion, and that's where the journey started of taking fashion as a career.
Okay, that's very interesting actually to have and if I may ask, what is the profession that your elder brother is in?
Oh,
Is
he lives in the US. He is working in a pharmaceutical consultancy company.
Oh, wow. So this is actually really a contrasting profession for him to even come out and suggest to his younger brother.
Yeah,
Uh, Kudos to him. Yeah, that's really very inspiring, and it's interesting also to understand how, for all of us, I think, as you rightly said, growing up, for us, the only connect for fashion has been
right,
Bollywood. We look at Bollywood cinemas, we look at celebrities dress up a certain way, we see our favorite actors dress up a certain way, and the next thing you know, we are rushing to the tailors to get the same clothes stitched, right?
right,
Whether it is Bunty or Bubbly, or whether it is, your Dharkan mein Shilpa Shetty, Georgette chiffon, monochrome saris. We're all heavily, heavily inspired by Bollywood, and it has a huge role to play in our careers. But having said that, what was that sort of was it a reality check when you actually started your design career? Because the expectations that we have as design
yeah.
students is very different than what reality is.
Of course, I mean, it was, I mean, to begin with, like, the first year, it was quite easy for me because it was more to do with, creativity and sketching. It was more about fine arts and playing around with materials. So that was something which I enjoyed. But the moment, I stepped into year two, which was about textiles, which was about stitching, and actual fashion started then. So that was quite scary for me because, stitching, I'll say stitching is not my forte. It's not something which I enjoy. So even when I started my second year, I was scared because I could see my other, classmates, students in my class. Some of them were really great at stitching. Some because probably few of them already had fashion design as a subject in their 12th standard, so they knew about what is fashion. But for me, fashion was okay. I have to design. I'll have to sketch. So I'll be able to manage completing my 4 years in fashion. But second year gave me that reality check that it's not about glamour. There's a lot of work that you need to do, a lot of technicalities you need to understand, and then work towards it. And ultimately, you're the one who has to do it because you can't hire someone to do it on your behalf till you are in your college fashion school. So yeah, so that was the phase that gave me that reality check. And for a moment, I felt like probably I should stop. I can't take it further from here because I was losing my confidence somewhere during the second year, beginning of the second year, I would say.
But then you got over it. And a lot of kids, at that age of 18, 19, I think a lot of our viewers as well would be watching, who are watching us live right now, or would be watching us later, go through this sort of identity crisis where when they enter their second year and then they have a reality check that, अच्छा खाली sketch नहीं करना है, कपड़े भी बनाने हैं.
Right.
और खुद ही कुछ सिलने हैं, right? You're not like, you don't have the access, as you said, you don't really have the access to tailors, and people are not going to come and stitch it for you. It's not going to magically appear. You have to do it. A lot of kids go through that sort of like a low point in their confidence, but you got out of it and you built a beautiful, beautiful, successful brand. So, if is there any advice that you would have for our kids who are watching this right now?
I think. It's more to do with what's your ultimate goal is. I mean, I knew that of course such thoughts it's quite natural when you're working in any field in any industry. So there will be low points that you'll come across, and probably you'll think negative. And it's since it's very natural to think that way, but then we should also realize that it's just a phase in that in that journey. Because ultimately, if you look at a bigger picture, there's a goal that you have created for you, that is where you need to reach. And if you're sure that irrespective of whatever hurdles you will come across, if you need to achieve that, then you will also cross this whatever hurdle you are going through currently. And of course you will have to work probably a little harder to overcome that issue, but ultimately you will be able to do it. So I just believe that is what I faced, like in my um, also, I felt that uh, there were a few designers who played a really important role in making me feel that you are in a very safe place. You don't have to feel scared about stitching because fashion is not only about stitching. As a designer, as a design student, we should know each and everything, because if we aren't aware about the technical part of it, we can't even guide someone in the later future. So that is what I felt, that okay, it's okay to be average in stitching, but as a designer, my forte should be designing, being creative, innovative, out of the box, and be good in pattern making or draping, whichever skills I want to pick up. But I should be good at it so that once I start with my own brand, then I'll be able to guide my team how to do it or how to reach to that final outcome. So that was really important for me, and for that, I there were two designers who played a really important role in making me realize that fashion is beyond what I am seeing or what I have seen in Bollywood. And since then, probably Bollywood has not been something which inspired me. As in, fashion was huge. It's a big world in itself.
That's so wonderful. And that's so profound as well that, when you're naive and all of 17, 18, you come to design school thinking Bollywood is fashion. But it's only when you get in is when you realize that fashion is a much deeper, bigger umbrella and a much deeper topic to dive into. And fashion in itself has an identity of its own, which is very distinct from Bollywood. Bollywood is one of the aspects of fashion, but fashion is magnanimous and has so many diverse, ways of looking into it, which is so great. Pratish, you've got like over a decade of experience in design, right? You've also studied in the UK and you've studied in India. So, if I could ask you, what is the difference in the education system that you saw here in India when you were studying and when you went abroad and studied there?
I'll say one major difference that I felt was that I had access to most of the resources at the Dye University. So irrespective, I was studying fashion, but I was allowed to enter into science lab. I was allowed to enter into 3D printing lab. So they were, because it's a huge university and there are different courses. But I was not, no one was there to stop me that, Pratyush, you can't be in our science lab. What are you doing over here? If you are a student, if you have got a permission, you can just be there and experiment whatever you want to. Uh, and and if I talk about when I was studying in India, so of course Pearl Academy, it's a passion school. It's not a university like DU where you have got different courses. So we had access to things which were available for textile or a fashion student. So resources were less, I would say, and probably it's been now more than a decade when I
Yeah.
was in Perth. Um, so things were very different then. But compared to that period, studying masters in the same period, I would say it was more to do with the resources. And also, when I was, I think it's again same with any master's course, that you're not being taught by mentors. They are just guiding you, because ultimately you are there for masters. So you are left on your own to do whatever you want to complete your thesis or the deadlines that you are working towards. So that phase, I just felt that that was challenging, and but also it was quite exciting for me to work within that short deadline. But the workload was a lot more than what it was in India, and fashion in UK is completely different in India, and that is something which I relate to more. So for me, it was more exciting to study and work towards when I was creating any collection.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, Pratyush, again, you've said it yourself that you've got a decade of experience, and things, of course, in India have changed as well a lot in the last 10 years in terms of education system, in terms of learning. But with all of that, the design industry has also changed a lot. Today, we all understand that sustainability is here to stay and it is the future. But when is it that you had that switch in your 12 years of work X? When is it that you felt that, okay, I have to do something in sustainability and move in this direction?
So in 2008, we had this project of studying the craft, and we were supposed to create garments which were, if not 100% sustainable, but it should be sustainable in some way or the other. Where I used organic cotton, I got organic dyed textiles. So that was my first step into sustainability. But at the same time, I was also working on modularity, which again I believe is a very important design concept which supports sustainability. So that was again in 2008 when I started working on modularity as well. So sustainability and modularity for me, it goes parallel to each other, and it leads to ultimately a circular economy. So that is how I started in 2008, and then even I continued working on sustainability since then. It wasn't like intentional that okay, I want to create a fashion world which is free from fast fashion, because probably at that time fast fashion wasn't even a terminology that people were using, and honestly, I wasn't even aware about the word fast fashion. And we all were consuming fashion like we used to like wearing a t-shirt for probably few months, then dumping it or giving it to, like in India we give it to our younger sibling or someone younger in our family, and then that person wears it. So if I see that way, so sustainability is something which we all Indians have been practicing somehow or the other since many, many decades, or probably a century or more. But now, of course, it has become more like that, where people are, using it as a marketing tool. That okay, the brand is sustainable. For me, it wasn't. I wasn't even sure that I'll start a sustainable brand at this point of time. I knew that sustainability will be something. It will remain a very important pillar of my brand, whichever brand I'll have in the future, and I will try to work towards sustainability, even if it grows slowly. So yeah, so like I was saying, 2008, 2009, 2011, these 3 years I had sustainability in all my projects that was working on. Then even during my master's thesis, one of the thesis subject was about sustainability, where my research topic was polyester versus cotton, which textile is more sustainable. So I had to give a thesis on it. So it was again, like I said, it was a very important part of my education when I was in fashion. But after completing my, fashion education, when I entered into the real world, I worked for some time, and then when I started with my own namesake label, which was in 2017, so it wasn't a sustainable label, but I tried to maintain one thing, that it was a vegan label, but materials were not sustainable. But I knew that now that I've started with my label, slowly I have to convert it into a sustainable brand somehow. But as the time passed by, I felt that probably I should start a brand which is actually 100%. I mean, I should try to achieve that 100% tie in it, but a brand which is completely sustainable in nature and supports the philosophy of circularity. So 2017 till 2019 end, which was I think November, for 3 years I worked on my namesake label, and then I was completely sure that now I'm ready with all the resources, all the research, and I can start working towards a sustainable brand. And that was the first time when I started working on the collection. And then in February, we launched our first collection, and then after a month, lockdown happened. Then we had to shut it down for almost 1.5 years. We restarted working on our brand in 2022 October, and then we went live with our collection in 2022 January 20th. So that is how sustainability has been there.
Amazing. And this journey is so inspiring because right from where you started till where you got, I think one thing that stayed constant, as you said, with you, that at the back end, you always knew that you wanted to do something in this. And you wanted to do something in sustainability. But as you said yourself, right, like there's a lot of fad and a lot of branding and marketing around sustainability today. And as consumers, it becomes really difficult to understand what is being greenwashed and when is a brand actually making a sustainable effort, towards the sort of philosophy that they have or the ethos of the brand actually are aligned with sustainability. Would you have some advice on, young students who are applying for these internships, who are applying for jobs, who want to get into sustainable fashion but have no clue? Would you have some tips on them how to identify the right companies to work with, who have the right ethos and who are not just greenwashing?
I think the first thing is, educating yourself about what is actually greenwashing and what makes any brand, company, sustainable brand. And that is where the whole greenwashing comes in because people are not well educated about sustainable fashion or sustainability in general. So by using the terminologies like, we are using cotton, we are using linen, so we are sustainable brand, or just because we are using natural textile doesn't make you a sustainable brand. And the normal public, they are not aware about it because for us, okay, it's a you are wearing a cotton shirt or you are using a cotton material in your brand, so of course it's a natural material which is biodegradable. So it's a sustainable brand, it's a sustainable material. I think the best thing is to go into the description of any product line and just see there. I mean, uh, if people are writing, it's a certified organic cotton, then of course we don't have any medium to test it whether the material is actually organic cotton. But if someone sees that they have mentioned viscose, cotton, linen, silk, and even then if they call themselves a sustainable brand, so that's where the greenwashing is happening because it's not at all a sustainable brand. And also, sustainability is not only about the materials that are using; it's also about how ethical the brand is. How so that is where I think students they should also try to research about how they are actually treating their employees and all the artisans or the communities they are associated with, because like sustainability is a huge it's an umbrella under which many things fall, and materials, people, living beings, uh, everything makes the complete planet, and that is under this umbrella. So how a particular material is being created right from the agriculture stage, right from the drawing, as in the seed when it is sown. So right from that stage, how it is being treated uh, till it's being spun into uh, a yarn and then further into a textile. So the entire process should be studied well by any student. And I think there are many ways to find it out online. But I think the easiest way is to just check any brand's product description. And if it says cotton in all natural materials, so it's not a sustainable brand. Also, the fact that there are many people who promote themselves as a vegan brand. And of course, if you're using artificial leather or foul leather or rexine, that makes you a vegan brand. But if you're calling yourself a vegan brand at the same time a sustainable brand, then again, it's not a sustainable brand because irrespective, you are using an alternative to leather, which is rexine, but not eco-friendly because it's petroleum based. So that is also one very important information that anyone should, not just the students, but in general, we all should know that when we are thinking of buying a product which is sustainable, we should be aware about all these facts because these are the ways through which any company or the brand they greenwash consumers.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Pratyush. This has been so wonderful. You won the Circular Design Award for, the Circular Design Challenge in 2022, and you said you launched your label January 2022 after the lockdown. And of course, you took a step back, reiterated, went back to the drawing board, and refigured how you want to go about with your brand. But then, bam, right? Two awards in a year, and both of them national, and like with so many eyes on you, with so many people looking up to you, with so many young kids looking up to you, thinking that, okay, a sustainable career is possible in design and a career in sustainable design is possible. Do you have any advices for any young fashion student who might have the same vision or the dream to start their own label, and with all the setbacks that you have had, how did you hold the fort in place every single time?
I think in my case particularly, I think the most important thing was I had a complete support from my parents, my parents, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my sister-in-law, brother-in-law. I mean the entire family. In fact, my relatives also, my uncles, they were really supportive in what I'm doing even now. Because see, fashion, it's again from my point of view, fashion, it might be a very easy way to create business to make money, but in when you're talking about sustainability, so it's a very niche area right now, and even in that, I am trying to create a luxury sustainable brand, which is I have made it a very tiny market for me currently, especially if I talk about the Indian market. But for me, I believe irrespective, I'm trying to create a brand which is very niche, but ultimately, I have always believed in that sustainability is the future, uh, and somewhere down the line, people will start believing in it. That okay, we have to actually people as in the brands or the manufacturer, they will have to switch to a more sustainable way of manufacturing or creating products, and probably it is happening, even if it's a very slow process that uh, you know uh, fast fashion brands like H&M or Zara, irrespective, they've been greenwashing, but they are trying to change themselves, even if it's 0.1% at currently, but they are doing it. So I mean, that is one thing I always keep telling my parents, that I know that, probably there are hundreds of challenges at this stage for my brand, but there's one thing clear, that I know that I can build a brand uh, which can provide consumers what they are looking from any other designer label. So whether a garment for a red carpet event, garment for you know for a street as a streetwear, garment for probably a gym wear in the future. We are already creating swimwear, so or a garment which is more loungewear, or a couture. So we are doing couture, we are doing ready to wear, we are doing swimwear, we are doing bags, we are doing footwear, we are doing eyewear. So we are creating all the verticals that comes under fashion, but at the same time we are keeping planet in mind. We are not ready to compromise with the planet. So whatever materials we are using, whatever techniques we are using, we are keeping in mind planet first, and then we are starting with it. And probably these are those factors that have also kept me strong. That okay, irrespective whatever uh, difficulties you are coming across, but there are reasons because of which you are able to pull it off. There's a good amount of support. Then probably winning the circular design challenge, or the clean tech challenge. It also played a very important role to keep me strong. That you are on the right track. Otherwise, probably I would have been just working towards a sustainable brand, but with low confidence, I would say. But these two competitions, winning these two competitions, it gave me that
That
probably that you are on the right track, and the probably the brand's future is great. And of course, we are not stopping here. We will be working, and we will continue working towards something which is more eco-friendly. We'll try to achieve that tag of being 100% sustainable. We try, but of course, I mean, until we start using natural energy, renewable energies to generate electricity in our working place. Till then, we can't be a complete sustainable brand. But whatever is possible at this stage, that is in terms of using materials, and again being ethical. So we are sticking to it. So that way, we have been able to achieve that sustainability tag, I would say. And winning these two challenges also, it gave me that recognition in India, probably in some parts of the world, that okay, Pew is a brand which is a circular brand, and we are not just trying to greenwash people.
That is so wonderful, Pratyush, and your entire journey is so, so inspiring. And I'm sure it's going to inspire a lot of young fashion and design enthusiasts here. And a lot of kids will be watching these videos later as well to sort of believe in what they believe in and continue going no matter what. And the journey may be rocky, the journey may be slow, but in the end, success comes to those who persevere and who put in the hard work and who stand, true to their morals and their principles. And your brand is a reflection of that. And congratulations on representing India and doing your bit for the planet. This has really, really been very, very inspiring.
Thank you.